Hello everyone. Today I'm playing a deck that is a little over a year in the making. So anyone who knows me knows that I have been trying to make Urza's Ruinous Blast and Mox Amber work since they've been printed. And usually this process went, okay, I'm going to play every legendary creature in these colors and try to do something with it. And the end result is a bunch of bad creatures not doing anything, and then Urb not being as good as you want it to be. So those decks were all garbage. But now, I was surprised to find, I think we finally have enough cheap legendary creatures and planeswalkers to make this strategy actually work. So, at its heart, this is basically a slightly slower aggro deck. We have a bunch of cheap creatures, cheap planeswalkers that add power or generate advantage, some finisher cards that kill people really fast, and then this is where we get to the weirdness, which is Karn's Temporal Sundering, a card that will let us take extra turns if we have a legend out, and Urza's Ruinous Blast, which gets rid of all the non-legendary things. So basically, we are an okay aggro deck, but we get to play a Mox, which no one else gets to play. We get to play Plague Wind, which isn't in Standard, and even if it were, usually has to cost 9, and Time Warp. And that said, a 6-mana Time Warp is not a particularly good card, but the bounce is really relevant. And sometimes it even comes up that it is a sorcery, and so with Teferi we can do it on the opponent's end step, which is extra gas. Moving on to the sideboard, because this is a pretty cohesive main deck. We basically have two major plans. We have the anti-control plan, which is Adanto Vanguard, Dovin's Veto, Kasmina, Enigmatic Mentor, and yeah, that's it. We'll be dropping like Herb and things like that. And this is just to make us more resilient, give us more threats that are difficult to kill, and gradually grind them out. The control matchup is surprisingly good. Game 1, it's a little rough depending on the half of your deck that you draw. If you draw all Shanna's and Urza's Ruinous Blast, you're probably going to lose. But the cheap planeswalkers are difficult for them to deal with, and Narset in particular is brutal for a control deck to work through because their Chemist's Insights don't work, and Teferi doesn't do anything, and it's bad news. And then secondly, we have our anti-aggro plan, which is Thorn Lieutenant and Shield Mare, just as 2/3s, which are very good at blocking, that will hopefully inhibit the opponent's ability to get through and run us over. And, I already mentioned Kasmina, and then Lyra Dawnbringer and Urza's Ruinous Blast as a creature that stabilizes by itself very easily and more board wipes in matchups where that's good. And then finally, the one other card is a 4th copy of Teferi Time Raveler. You don't really want 5 copies of this card in general, because it's just a planeswalker that... If a planeswalker can be cashed in pretty easily, then you're okay with playing maybe 4 copies of it, but Teferi is not. It takes a long time to go through his cycle of bounce something, tick up, bounce something again, and draw you a card. So if you get flooded on these, it can be really awkward. But importantly, the static ability is really, really good against Wilderness Reclamation decks. They have an extremely difficult time getting through this. And so if we can stick one of these, that's kind of the whole matchup. And so it's worth going up to 4 there. I think that just about covers everything. I'm really excited to go ahead and hop back into it, so I'll do that right now. Okay, getting into it. First match with Bant, Urza's Ruinous Blast. On the draw, which is sad. Opponent waiting. I played another deck earlier today that we won a match from opponent timing out during this stage. Go. I think we have to mull this. We really need a second land for it to do anything, and I think our average 6 is better. Notable that it's almost worth just not playing Urza's in the main, because in the best of 3 queue, such an enormous percentage of what you're playing against is control, that this is like blank a lot of the time. This is better. Alright. Yep, Hallowed Fountain. If we were betting even money, I would put the money on it being against control every single time. Just... it's always control. Although that does lead to you getting deceived, because one time I saw, like, Hallowed Fountain into Isolated Chapel, and I was so sure that it was control that I ignored, like, some signs that should have clued me in earlier, that it was actually an Esper Hero of Precinct 1 deck, where suddenly Urza's Ruinous Blast is fantastic instead of being blank, so you just gotta pay attention. Okay, nothing unfortunate. Would have liked to draw one of our 2s, but here we are. Can't cast Narset. We don't really have enough blue sources for a Narset. Like, if I'm being honest, we're just, we're about 3 sources short. But we have so many other good 3s that not being able to cast this until turn 4 or 5 is fine. And you're still going to be able to cast it on curve, like, 85% of the time or something like that, so... imperfect mana, but good enough. It was a somewhat auspicious start that our opponent didn't Thought Erasure on turn 2. That's usually just what you expect coming from these decks. Narset, alright.
I know 88 ways to defeat with thoughtfulness before
what do we got?
action.
This card's getting a lot more popular really quickly. I discovered on, like, day 2 that this card was fantastic against control and in control. I was kind of hoping that tech would stay hidden, because it can be really obnoxious to play against. Okay. Alright. Just gonna play Gideon here, because he has the highest upside. If they don't have an answer, he can just start executing their Planeswalkers. And, like, these two... Can't play this one, and this guy just really doesn't do anything yet. This was a very bad draw. Really hoping we can hit lands 4 through 6 on time. Getting this down and getting to Karns is like the type of thing that could swing this matchup. If they do have an answer for Gideon, we're going to lose the game very quickly.
Meditate and prepare.
I guess ideal would be like... Oh god. They just like play a Teferi and uptick and they don't hit a land. I have a feeling that Gideon is not living. Oh, opponent, please play a little more quickly. We don't have to go to time every turn, I promise. Alright, that's good for me.
I can no longer stand by and watch.
If they down-tick him... Okay, they just want to cycle him. I'm gonna kill Narset here, because then I get to stick my own Teferi, which shuts off counter spells, and I'll actually get to draw a card. If we'd hit a blue land, I might have done something different, but... Oh, I forgot to uptick Gideon last turn. That's, like, actually pretty bad.
You are a mighty warrior.
Bravery
I can
wasn't
see.
enough. Prepare for battle. Let's slow this down.
Submit 0.
I've got
Draw a card. Sure. Yeah, that was a pretty bad mistake. Gideon's -6 could actually be quite good here. Like, the difference between not exiling Liliana when we could, versus whatever could come up. That said, it looks like they didn't have an answer to Planeswalkers last turn. Wow! Holy crap. This happened to me earlier today. Is this like a thing people are doing now? That's so disgusting. Just 2-for-1 plus counters here so they get to actually use his ability again? Ugh. Jeez.
Oh, I've done the hero thing before.
Alright. Not having the blue here is really bad. go ahead and pack it in. They're gonna get to Liliana. We're just too far behind. We don't need to show them anymore. Alright. Adonto Vanguard in. Kasmina in. Dovin's Veto in. Urza's Ruinous Blast out. Trim 1 Mox Amber because our legend count is getting a bit lower. Then we cut Shanna's, and I cut 1 Ajani. Ajani can be really good, but he's a little bit of win more, so if we're having trouble keeping other things on the board, then he's just not very good. That game might have been different. Overall, I think this matchup is probably just garbage, because they have the Elder spell, and that's our main way of beating control decks. Main deck Elder spell. I really hope that doesn't become popular, because that would be really awful for this strategy and a lot of the decks I like to play. Here, we're going to go with Adonto Vanguard on 2. There's decent odds that they just, like, can't kill it. They probably don't have Moment of Craving left in their deck. And this doesn't die to Kaya's Wrath or anything like that, so it might just win the game on its own. If for some reason we couldn't Adonto Vanguard, we'd play Fblthp, just draw more cards, get our value. Okay, so they mulled to 5. That's good for us. Even more likely that they just won't have an answer and Adonto can just win the game. Basically, this hand is really, really bad if they are still playing sweepers and their sweeper is Cry of the Carnarium. Okay, that land is a very bad draw. But if they don't have Cry, Adonto Vanguard could just win the game on its own. Which is why this card is in the sideboard. Alright. I said something earlier about wanting to get cards filling with Fblthp, but now I'm really okay with Emmara dying because we have a spare. And if she doesn't die, then she is our quickest clock. And since opponent mulled to 5, we really want to try and cheese this game and just kill him as fast as possible. Oh boy, still taking their sweet old time with all these plays. I wonder if opponent has figured out how to multi-queue an MTG arena. Taking 2, alright. No Cry, please. Suspense is killing me. Or maybe it's the waiting, I'm not sure. That is a very beatable card. If they uptick, it's dead on board. If they downtick, we'll just kill it and commit to the board again. Yeah.
Let's try this.
Alright. Go, Adonto. Really don't want to let them keep this moving.
Matter of time.
Let's see what we draw. Can't imagine anything we'd play over Emmara, but... Again, here, like, even if they have land Kaya's Wrath, we just get to make this indestructible and then play Oketra. And again, they are losing a lot of life and they're on the spot to deal with multiple very resilient threats. If they don't do anything, I'll probably play Oketra anyway. We're flooding out a bit here, but our deck's just kind of built to do that. Main deck, we've got 3 Mox Amber and 24 lands, so that's like a really slow control deck's worth of mana sources. But we kind of need it. Like, this game, we've been effective because we went 2, 3, 4. And especially, like, if we can't hit our Planeswalkers on 3, it's just kind of death. Like, we really need enough lands to do that. Oh boy. Opponent appears to be unhappy with their mulliganing situation. I'm just gonna slam Oketra. If she gets countered, whatever. If she doesn't get countered, then they need a Wrath, so we're in the same position as before. And if they don't have a Wrath, we're just threatening to win the game with Karns. Although we didn't show this yet, so I would prefer to win the game without it. Oh boy. This is something else. It's always awkward because I don't want to stop the recording if they I don't want to stop the recording and have them just like play a spell and miss something. And by the time it looks like they're definitely not going to, there's only a 12-second wait or whatever anyway, so it's just not worth it. Bleh. I wish opponents would just play. I really like that animation, the effect on the spirally magic, and then her coming up with the arrow. Oh boy. Someday they'll fix this. I'm gonna go ahead and cut the recording. I'm assuming they're just gonna time me out again. Alright, they never did anything else, and it gave us the whole match, so sure. Sorry you guys didn't get a full, proper match. That was, pretty unsatisfying, but go ahead and hop right back into it. Okay, second match with Bant, Urza's Ruinous Blast. Get to be on the play this time. Ooh. Wish this hand had one more land. Alright, this hand's still quite good. And I'm keeping that. Unfortunately, Mox Amber is just a Mox Sapphire here, so it won't help us cast Gideon, so we need the third land. Oh, that was kind of weird. Like, jumped across. Alright, Fblthp, go! This is particularly a really good draw against control. Even if they kill Fblthp, he already generated his value. It's relatively resilient to Thought Erasure, but they didn't even have that, so we're just going to get to slam a Gideon and start hitting them. We even get to gain some life.
Gideon Jury, at your service. I believe in you.
Next turn, if we draw a land, we could even, like, Teferi and Shanna. So we have our sweet, sweet Mox. Oh, well that's unfortunate. That isn't very nice. So we could... we can get a little fancy here. Tap for blue, white, white, Teferi. Because Teferi is like... his static ability is the main thing here. His plus and his minus don't really do much. But here we got to cycle him and refund the mana from Mox Amber, so we get a Shanna down. And now their counterspells are bad. Yeah, that's a little sad, but... there were a couple of ways to play this, like we can just take our time with Fblthp, but I think we want to keep threatening to overwhelm the opponent. Now, they need to answer God-Eternal Oketra before our next turn, or they're basically just dead. Make an extra 4/4, draw a card, hit you with this, like... Omnixilis's Cruelty is interesting. It hit our Gideon, which most 3-mana removal would not. Oh, that's sad. Go ahead and discard this extra Teferi. Let's... we can't do the thing again, so I'm going to go for high upside play. We did not hit a land. That was the worst case scenario. Drawing another God-Eternal.
I got it.
Oof. It would have been really nice if we'd had a land to God-Eternal again. Oof. And Teferi not very good against Disinformation Campaign. That said, we get to stick her again here, so... Next turn, like, he's preventing them from doing things on our turn, so if we get to untap, we can, like, attack. Oh my gosh.
Do not defy the designs of an elder dragon. Of your past is
This isn't the worst, because we'll get her back later, and Fblthp is killing Ugin on board. Oh man, would have been nice to hit a land. Oh, I should have played Gideon first. Whatever, we're down 1 life. That's not really relevant. Note that Karns cannot effectively bounce Fblthp because he runs away if he gets targeted by anything, but Teferi can.
Gods bless us in our righteous cause. I believe in you, friend.
Alright, so again, counter spells, terrible. Doing stuff on our turn, not really a thing. Oh, Teferi protects Gideon from further Ob Nixilis' cruelty. That's kind of funny.
I have constructed your doom.
Alright, so what's the best way to do this? Okay, so what I'm going to do, I am going to uptick Teferi, and this is really cool. We can just do whatever we want with impunity because they can't cast spells on our turn. So I'm going to take an extra turn, and I'm going to bounce this Thopter. Give Fblthp lifelink.
I will lend you my strength.
Whoa. Lagging out a bit. Okay, they pack it in. And then next turn we were going to kill him, hit them for a lot of damage, and play Oketra. So they were like really sunk there. Alright. Basically same idea as last time. Yeah. We have really good anti-control cards. Like, this is just such a resilient deck that even if our best aggro draws don't kill till turn 5 or 6, it's so difficult for them to stop us. This hand is like really awkward. I think I'm gonna keep it, but oh, well, we could also just draw the best card in the matchup possible. Maybe we'll like draw Narset next, and we can go Adanto into Narset, just win very easily. Discovery again? Huh. This is like a weird inclusion. I assumed they would be like some really heavy Surveil deck, but they also seem to have like they also seem to have a Planeswalker theme going on. Like they had that beacon, and we saw Ugin and Tezzeret at the very least. I don't know. It's a little odd. Huh. Maybe we should have played our Mox. And they might take it here, because we get to go, yeah. Punished for not playing out our Mox. That's a little awkward. Please don't be playing Moment of Craving. Okay, they're not. They keep both on top there? They did. That's a little scary. Yeah, I'll go ahead and play out Emmara here. Yeah, like, super punished. If I'd played out the Mox, they would have taken the Karn's Temporal Sundering, and then we could have played this untapped and had Dovin's Veto up. Like, it's mostly okay, like, Ritual of Soot's quite bad here. Blowing a Cruelty on Emmara, huh? Because that's, like, one of the few cards that actually hits a Danto. Okay, so we're in good shape. Play Fblthp. Now we have our legendary stuff enabled. Double Dovins. That's quite good. Now we're just beating down fast enough. As I mentioned, a Danto wins games on its own. There's a reason this is the non-legendary creature I'm choosing to play. I don't want that to happen. Another discovery. Like, this is why I'm not really sure about this. Like, maybe they just want more Surveil to make a disinformation campaign work, but it just feels like they're kind of dirtling and not getting anything done. I'm just gonna pass here. I want to leave up Veto again. If we could play both, obviously I would run this out, but yeah, I'm gonna shut that down. If they want to wipe the board, that's whatever, but that's also kind of whatever. What do we pitch here? I think it's Oketra. I think both of these cards are slightly more important. Okay, and this is actually neat. We got them down to 6, and so a Danto Vanguard is lethal in 2 turns, even without Fblthp's help.
Might be a bad idea.
And so now, in case they do sweep the board, Fblthp is safe in our hand, and we can get another draw out of him. And again, they probably have counters in their blue-black control deck, and they're just garbage. They're terrible. Okay, this is rough. Okay, they didn't have anything. That's good for us.
Let's see how you work.
Yeah, I'm just gonna try to finish him off.
Oh, I've done the hero thing before.
Okay, now my goal is to flood the board in threats, because it's unlikely they'll be able to kill Fblthp, Dovin, and Teferi, and since we have the 6th land accounted for, we're gonna get to Karns, and even if they make a token with Saheeli, we can bounce it away and just mush them to death. So they have to do this on their turn, because Teferi says no. But that's like most of their mana. Sure. So they're dead here.
Mind and body should move in. I have just the trick for this.
Because, we'll just Karns, bounce this, they have to block a Danto Vanguard with the other one, they take 2, we make another Thopter, and they're dead on our turn. Yeah, the center's untapped. Karn's Temporal Sundering. I would like to go again. Yeah. Alright, that's it. Yeah. Taking extra turns plus bouncing things is a powerful effect. Alright, so 2-0, sort of. Go ahead and hop into one more. Okay. One more match with Bant Urza's Ruinous Blast. Currently 2-0. Oof. This, like, might be good enough. If we're against control, Urza's or Gideon's where we want to be, and if we're not, then Blast is probably going to be good, and we can even turn 4 Blast off of Mox Amber. If they're control and they just thought erasure us, we're in deep shit, but I don't know that the average 6 is better in the dark. If I knew we were against control just 100%, then I would mulligan this, I think. Again, I might get punished for not running this out, but this doesn't do anything yet, so... Llanowar Elves. Okay, Urza's Ruinous Blast is probably fantastic. Man, I've been so used to winning through control decks that I never thought I'd live to see another Urza's Ruinous Blast. Another deck where this is good, I should say. Huh. This isn't very good yet, because if she downticks, then she's just dead to the Branchwalker.
I am here to aid in the assault.
I'll give her Indestructible, because she's not going to want to block on our turn, since she's going to go down to being a 1/1 when Gideon stops being a creature. Alright, now I'm not going to show the Mox Amber, because I don't want to give any hint as to what we're doing. They would have to kill both of these to shut it down, and hopefully they'll just go like double Merfolk Branchwalker and we'll basically win the game. They can't kill Gideon here, even with attacking with both.
That was nothing.
Huh, no plays. Well, I'm still gonna do it. Give her lifelink.
Prepare for battle.
And, I think we are quite likely to win the game, because if we draw a land, like, we can just bounce whatever they play and take 2 turns and just kill them real fast. A Ravenous Chupacabra would mess that up, but... yeah, they pack it in. Alright. So, what do we do against black-green? I'm gonna bring in 1 more of these. They might board into, like, enough Planeswalkers that this isn't actually that attractive. What is bad? I think Narset's actually pretty bad. The denying card draw doesn't really do anything, I don't think. Thorn Lieutenant might be good. This might be good, except she just gets shot down by Vivian, so it might just be like Narset out, Kasmina in. Wait, what else? Oh, and a 3rd Urb in. I think we're pretty well set up, honestly. Like, unless they have a really good aggro opening, our Planeswalkers should be able to generate a lot of value and overwhelm them. And Urza's is just insane. It was only a 2-for-1 there, and it still just, like, completely won the game. Yeah. This plays Fblthp into a 3-drop Planeswalker. We need another white for these two, but most of our lands are white, yeah. We'll probably play this guy. He attacks and blocks better. It looks like they're still just leaning into Urza's, like... okay. Duress, sure. They get one of these two, but then we get to play the other one, so... like, unless they have a... if they've got a Branchwalker here, and they take Gideon, that's, like, a little awkward. But if they don't, Teferi just bounces this, and then they're kind of sunk. And I suppose even if they... okay, they didn't want to deal with Teferi, fair enough. That's a little gross. There's like no way Gideon lives through the next turn, because they're just gonna Chupacabra this and kill me. Kill him. Alright, that's a good draw, as long as we can hit lands for it. Yeah, I suspect it's going to be really hard to fight over keeping our Planeswalkers alive here, so I really just want to keep creatures on the table, and then we can set up Karns and Urzas. Just win the game that way. No blocks. Alright. They're not doing anything, which is, like, weird.
Together we can banish evil from this place. I believe in you.
just kind of took that turn off. Midnight Reapers, sure. They attack with both. Huh. Lets them draw a card to block this way, but I think that's kind of fine. Nah, I'm just gonna block like this. Okay, we hit the land. That is exactly what I wanted. Give him vigilance. Now if we draw land, we get to go into the infinite Karn's loop. And by infinite, I mean 2 time walks, which is plenty. And if we don't draw land, then we can just do this and make a 4/4. I'm gonna go ahead and block like this. I want to keep Gideon relatively healthy. This is like basically free. They get to draw a card, but whatever.
Bring it on.
They really need to kill Oketra here. It's gonna go south for them. Midnight Reaper is not it. Alright, so I think we basically have this game.
Share in my light.
Man, I started out 1 Oketra because I wasn't sure if she was actually going to be that good. And every time I've cast it, she's been disgusting. Yeah, this game's just super over. They bricked on lands a little too long. And they also just couldn't deal with what we were doing. Midnight Reaper is not good enough in this matchup. Trading 1 for 1 isn't how you're going to beat Urza's Ruinous Blast, and it matches up very poorly against Blast. So, 3-0 pretty quickly. At least one of these matches seemed really easy. If people are going to be playing black-green, this seems like a good choice. If you enjoyed this video and you want to see more like it, you should subscribe to this YouTube channel. I'm posting videos at least twice a week, maybe more if the fancy strikes me. And also go ahead and follow my Twitch link down below. I'm streaming twice a week and we play all sorts of fun stuff just like this. That's all I got for today. Thanks for watching.